Hello, everyone, on this beautiful Monday morning. I'm trying to get all the glare off here for each one of you today. Let's see here. Got a lot of glare on this thing. I'm trying to get rid of the glare. Let's see if I can do this here. Give me a second, guys. Hold on. While you guys are on with me. There we go. I'm trying to get rid of the glare for you guys off of my computer for YouTube. My Instagram people, you guys are fine. But anyway, hope everyone is doing great today. I really mean that, and I hope life is being very good to you guys today. Definitely. Let's see if I can get this glare off here for you guys. Hold on a minute. Let's see. Give me a second here. I got too much glare on the computer, and I can't seem to get rid of it for you guys. Let's see. There we go. That'll work for now. Why not? Hey. Awesome. Hope everyone's doing great today. I really do. And good morning, Pia and Rebecca and everybody else who's come on board with us today. And Adam, hope all is well with you guys. I really do. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about safety today because, good morning, because I really feel like that I want to target a little bit of what the scripture says when it deals with a little bit of God's safety. So we're going to just sort of tap on that today a little bit. And by the way, before we continue, let me just say this. Remember, the book of the month for November is the Destroying Debt Forever. I've got this book, as you guys can see, and then it comes with a study guide. And I really want you guys to make sure you get this because we've actually sold a lot of them. In fact, I only have like four of them left in a series, in a set, I should say, for you guys. That's all I got left. So you definitely want to make sure you're buying it now, or if not, you can buy the endless ebook of the study guide of the book. So either one's fine with me, definitely. But definitely want to get this Destroying Debt Forever. It's really a big blessing. I know many of you guys need that, and plus you want it because you do not want to start off a brand new year in debt. You want to be able to get out of debt and at least have a strategy as to how to get debt eradicated once and for all. Definitely. Amen. So let's get into safety. So I want to talk a little bit about that today, just for a little bit. Psalm 91 says something really interesting that I want to read, and we'll touch on this today as we continue. But it says, he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High God shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say unto the Lord, he is my refuge, my fortress, my strength, my God, in him will I trust. And it says, he will deliver me from the snare of the fowler. He will deliver me from anything that's deadly pestilence as well. It says he will cover me with his feathers, and under his wings will I find trust and refuge. And so I want to say this to you guys real quick, if I can. It continues to say, you will not have the terror by night, nor the arrows that flieth by day. I want to say this to each one of you today. We live in a society here in the Western world, especially, where we have it a little fortunate. We have a little easy because America, we don't have to deal with a lot of that kind of stuff like they do overseas. But I want to say this to each one of you today that, we have a guarantee from God that we need to be able to start putting our safety in, as opposed to, let's say, for example, a country. But we need to find the safety and the protection of Jesus because, when the Bible says in Psalm 91, verse 1 through 16, when it says he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High God shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. It's letting us know that we've got to begin to understand the power of where it says he who abides, who dwells in the secret place of the Most High God. And what that means is when you are under God's presence, when you're in the will of God, when you are in that place where you need to be in your life, there's protection. Because it says, it says, he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High God shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty, right? Then it says, then I will say to the Lord, he is my refuge, he is my fortress and strength. And so if you notice here, it's the psalmist, it's David, the psalmist, letting you know that you've got to begin to know where you abide. You got to know where you dwell. You got to know where you are supposed to be living. You got to know exactly where you're supposed to be found, for lack of better words, within society, within life. And because of that, it goes on to say, then David said, then I will say unto the Lord, he is my refuge. He is my fortress. He is my strength. And so if you notice here, the psalmist David is letting us know that I've got to be where I'm supposed to be. Let me ask you a question today. Where do you guys know you belong? Do you belong living in this state? Do you belong living in this city? Do you belong living with this person? Do you belong, going to this church? Do you belong, going to the job you go to? You've got to begin to know your niche. If you don't know your niche and where you need to be, where you belong in this world, who you belong with, the friends you belong with, the people you associate with, even life within itself outside of the scriptures will even tell you, we read stories such as, champions hang out with champions, successful people hang out with successful people. It's letting us know, even the world lets us know that if I hang out with people that are, let's say, always negative, I'm going to be negative. I'm either attracting them to me and they're going to change me, or I'm attracted to them because I'm going to become more like them. You think of people who are just negative. You think of people who don't know how to manage money. You think of people who don't know how to manage their life. A lot of times, a lot of people, a lot of you guys on here, you have friends that you love dearly as brothers and sisters in Christ, and you're like, man, I'm so happy with these people. They're my friends. We've been friends for years. And a lot of you put your faith in the longevity of your friendship. A lot of you put your faith in the kindness of the friendship. Oh, she's sweet to me. Oh, he's nice to me. And that's fine that we do that. However, we have to begin to look at reality, because David here in Psalms is letting us know that if I abide in the shadow of the Almighty, in other words, if I get where I need to be, if I get with whom I need to be with, if I get in this job in which I belong, the truth is, you know what? Once I get where I need to be, then I can say with confidence, I can say with a surety, I can say with a boldness, he is my refuge. He is my fortress. He is my strength. Are you with me? And so you got to think on the level of realizing, are you where you need to be in your life, body, soul, and spirit? Now, when we talk about relationships, we deal with the fact that, they're going to change us or I'm going to change them. But even though we can look and say, oh, but they're so nice, or we put our faith in the longevity of our friendship, such as they've been my friend for years and years, I can't imagine my life without them. But let me ask you a question. Are you going anywhere in life? Have you progressed since this person's been in your life? Have you made more money? Have you become more kind and loving and gentle? Or do you guys get together and you gossip? Or you get together and you backstab people? Or you get together and feel as if you're better than everybody else? These are dangerous, dangerous traits within people, because you might not think it's going to happen to you, but it does. It will happen to you. I'll prophesy to you right now. It will happen to you, because you can't expect like attracts like. You can't expect to be near somebody and let's say you say, oh, but they've always been there for me. They've always been kind and sweet and loving. You can place them in your life with no problem, but you got to know your place and where you belong in your life with people as well. Because no matter how sweet and kind and loving and gentle they are, if they're not successful, if they don't know how to handle money, if they don't know how to handle love, if they've been divorced seven times, if no one likes them, oh, but no one sees the quality that they have in them. Let me tell you something. These things will rub off on you. If you're going to become successful, whatever success looks like for you, you've got to begin to make sure you are not just around people that are kind and gentle and sweet and compassionate. You've got to make sure you get around them to say, yes, they're loving. Yes, they display the love of Jesus. And yes, they are successful. And yes, they know how to manage their money. And no, they haven't bankrupt 1,000 times. And no, they don't have people that hate them all the time. And no, they don't find fault with everybody they come in contact with. Are you with me? And no, they don't tend to lose money every 5 minutes of every day. No, you see what I'm saying? You've got to begin to look at reality to say, do they have the characteristics of Jesus? Because David knew right off the bat, I know where I belong. I belong into the shadow of the Almighty. And I believe we can interpret that and we can translate it any way we want to, because what he's saying is this: I know where I belong. I know where I belong, and I can say what is in my heart that I need to say, because this is my reality. This is my truth. My reality and my truth says, I know I belong in the shadow, under the shadow of the Almighty. I can say within myself, He is my refuge, my fortress, and my strength, my God in whom I will trust in. See, it's easy to align, but if you don't trust with alignment, then you're not going anywhere. If you don't have an alignment without trust, you're not going anywhere. You've got to begin to know, I trust God. I know where I belong. I know with whom I belong, I need to be with. I know where I need to be with. I know how to begin to handle my money. I know how to begin to handle my life. I'm loving, kind, gentle, compassionate. When you can align with the things of God, and you can, then let me say this to you. If you can align with the things of God in your saying, then your reality of where you are in your presence of, geographically speaking, body, soul, spirit, should automatically align. When you know where you are in your life, then truly you'll bear forth much fruit. The love will begin to come forward. The grace will begin to come forward. So you can't have one without the other. If you do, something is majorly wrong with that picture, because you've got to begin to understand and realize that it is about the obeying God. Yes, it is the key. Absolutely, Richard. Obeying God is the key to where you need to be in your life. If you're not obeying God of where you need to be, with whom you need to be hanging out with, where you need to be working, if not, you can't expect, I don't want to say you can't expect God to take care of you, but you can't expect the promises to just flood into your life without a little work. Are you with me? Because once you've done the work, then the promises will just follow. Once you've done your work, your homework, and once you know where you need to be and whom you would need to be with, then everything else, the promises will just fall into place for you, right? And notice in Psalm 91, one of my favorite Psalms, is noticing you see personal responsibility, you see the trusting of what God said He's going to do for me. And then you know with a surety that I've said within myself, like the woman with issue of blood, that I've said within myself, and I'm saying out loud that this is who God is to me. What David was doing was he was letting himself know, not only do I trust God, but I'm telling you God's attributes. I'm telling you who God is to me. The greatest revelation you can have is who God is to you. And David made it plain. He says, I will say, He is my refuge, definition. I will say, He is my fortress, definition. My God in whom I will trust. He's a trusting God, definition. See, if you just say, oh, God is just, God, 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 and you're not bringing definition, definement, a pinpoint, accurate bullseye mentality. Because let me put it this way: if we're friends, I can guarantee you will go to somebody else and you'll say, "Man, Jeremy's really kind. Like I watch him in public. He shows people mercy. I've watched him in public. He, does this or does this. He doesn't mind helping the underdog. He doesn't mind helping the poor. He doesn't mind helping the rich. He doesn't mind loving people that are different from him. He doesn't mind loving people that are Christians or non-Christians. Like whatever that attribute is that has hit the mark in your heart about me, then guess what? When you tell the people about me, you're making a bullseye definition, a bullseye reality to them about me. That's what we want. If you just say, "Oh yeah, Jeremy is my friend. Oh, we've been close for years. Well, tell me a little bit about him." Well, he's just funny. I like him. He's a good guy. You see what I'm saying? That's not definition. That's not really definement from revelation point of view. When you can look at somebody and say, here's their definition, here's what I'm going to say about them. I've seen that. I've seen the fruit they have. I've witnessed how amazing they are in this area with these people, with their money, in their lifestyle, in church, out of church, in the back alley, and in front of the spotlight on the stage. If you can define all of that of how I begin to display myself in those areas, you've got a friend for life. Because definition brings definement. Definement will automatically bring security. When I have definement and definition, I should have security following that. If I can define who you are, if I can say my mother is loving, my mother is kind, I know the attributes of my mom, then I find security in that. Are you with me? When you begin to understand these things, then you can truly say these things such as, Psalm 91, and you can begin to live by that rule of thumb because you understand I'm bringing forth definition and definement of what God is to me. He is my refuge. He is my strength. He's my fortress. I can trust in him. Why? Because I know that to be real. I've seen him do it before. Because this definition has become revelation to me. And when you get that, then guess what? Boom, you have a power source. You're going to be protected. Definition brings protection. Let me, because if I'm gonna define somebody outside and I say you've been known, let's say for example, if I look at myself and I look and I say I've witnessed, you've been, you're known for, because I've seen this, such as those mentalities to say, you were known to start trouble, you were known to hit people, you were known to cuss people out, you're known to, you're known to break covenant with people. If I witness and see that, and I can say I've known that about them, I'm bringing strong definition of what I've either has been confirmed or what I've witnessed, because we never want to be negative to people, but let's just use that for a moment. That is in a negative way. If I can define these things, I'm not going to be their friend, right? But if I can define these things, guess what? Then it lets me know I'm either secure with you or I'm not secure with you. And bottom line is, if I can't trust you as far as I can throw you, and if I have seen and witnessed, and confirmed how many times you've been ugly to people, or I'm confirming, that you're bad with your money, I can tell you right now, I'm not going to find security within you, right? I'm not. And so it flips. Definement can bring security, or it can let you know who they are, and it also lets you know where you stand, with them, and where they stand in your life. So Psalm 91 reaffirms these promises, reaffirms these truths with us. He goes on to say, talking about God with David, he will cover me with his feathers, and under his wings will I find refuge. What does that even mean? Think about it. If I was to come to you and I say, Brian Perry's on here. So if I was to come to Brian and say, well, let me put this. If I was to go, let's say, to Nicole, my friend, overseas, and I was telling you about Brian, which neither one of you know each other, and I was to say, hey, he's covering me with his feathers, you would look at me and be like, are are you in a really strange relationship with Brian? Like, is something going on? Like what on earth are you talking about? I won't even use W. Yeah. Anyway, I'd be like, what are you talking about? He's gonna cover you with his feathers. Are you, I mean, if Nicole was smart or anybody else was smart, they'd be like, okay, not let's get you to the doctor. Okay, let's get to the doctor. I'm petting myself. Let's get you to the doctor. Let's see what medication the doctor has for you today, right? Because you would think I'm a whack job. Because saying to somebody, like, oh yeah, Brian, he covers me with his feathers, and I get under his wing, you'd be like, okay, you're a freak, you're a Fruit Loop, you know what I mean? But what we recognize in Psalms is what David is saying is, but I've got revelation of God. I've got more defined. I can see a bigger picture, a broader picture of God than you can. And so if I was to say that to somebody, I would then, and let's say about my friend Brian, I could say something to the effect of, you know what, Brian's like an eagle. Like, I feel like every time I'm with him, he just uplifts me. He encourages me. I feel like with him, I'm safe. I feel like I can tell him all my secrets. And I just feel like he's like a mother hen, like a bird, like covering me with his wing, and I feel safe in his conversations. Then guess what I've done there? I've just explained to you the revelation I have of my friend Brian, because let's say I witness or I confirm or I know of what his actions do and what he can do for me. Then it would make more sense to you. Then you would want to lock me up in a cuckoo's nest, right? Then you would. I mean, no offense, I'm being on. You wouldn't want to. You wouldn't want to do that. You would say, "Oh, wow, you just described your friend in ways I've never thought about," because I have an intimate revelation about seeing their action or what they can do for me or somebody else. You see what I'm saying? Those are the things you want to begin to understand. And so David was very prolific in what he's saying here, when it deals with When it deals with, sorry, I was reading a comment. When it deals with, where he is in his life, David could define who God was to him. He knew what God was to him. He could define these moments, completely. He could be able to bring forth a truth. Hold on, my chair. He could bring forth the truth. He could bring forth the reality to really understand the whole concept of God is. This is what God is to me. I mean, and obviously, when you consider talking about his feathers and his wings and his trust, and no matter what flies by day, no matter what comes by night, God's going to protect me. Then you're dealing with total intimacy. You're dealing with total intimacy with that person in the sense of revelation. You've got revelation on this person. Like, the odds and ends of them, right? That's what David is letting you know. That's how David is able to quote Psalm 91, because he has a personal, intimate relationship with God, and he knows what God is to him. He's seen God in action. He recognizes the attributes of God. He recognizes what God does. He recognizes the emotions of God. He recognizes the protection of God. He recognizes the trust. He recognizes God. Are you with me? How many still on here with me? So you got to think for a moment, what is being said? What is being said here is coming to the place that if you want to feel safety, then get to know the protector. Get to know God. What is God revealing to you about himself? Who is he to you? All David was, and let me say this to you guys as well. The Bible's not letting us know. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. The Bible is not telling us, you go ahead and pray, under his wings will I trust, and under his feather. It's letting you know, if you want to pray that, go for it, because it's the word of God. But what the Bible is telling you here is that David is showing you and proving to you what intimacy does. David is proving to you what being close to somebody does. David is being honest with you, letting you know this is exactly what happens, when it deals with the fact of getting close to someone. Are you guys with me today? If you're with me, give me some hearts. Let me know you're still on here with me. So these are the realities of God, is letting you know that God is automatically telling you that if you want to know my safety, then tell me the revelation that I'm giving to you of what I am to you. You don't have to quote David if you don't want to. You don't have to quote David if you don't want to. But if you have revelation of the imagination of God, and you have this covenant with God, then he's going to share with you, and you're going to share with him exactly what he is to you, exactly what it is that he's doing for you, what he's promised you futuristically, what life is going to be consisting of you. That's all David's talking about in Psalm 91, is he's saying, hey, man, I know who God is. I know what God does for me. I know this is what God is to me. I can witness this. I can bear forth, this stuff. That's what he's letting you know. So David's confidence in Psalm 91 is just letting you know, I'm going to be fine because I know who God is. I'm going to be fine because I can tell you the intimacy of what it presents to me in a place of such revelation of ways I've never thought about. So what was David saying? That I can even relate to God as the animal part of God, as the eagle part of God, as the wings part of God, of the feathers part of God. That's what intimacy does. It doesn't say copy what other people say. What it's saying is, when you go to the intimate level with God, then God's going to reveal himself to you in ways you've never known before, in ways you've never seen before. You'll have your own comments. You'll have your own definitions. You won't even, think about if I was to say, hey, God is likened unto an animal, you'd be like, blasphemy, what's wrong with you? But when you know God intimately, then you understand all through the universe of how God will use the reflections of his own kingdom and his own creation to give us a reflection of who God is to us. Because that shows you God is in all things. God is in all things. God is omniscient and omnipresent. There's nothing or no thing that God is not into, because God is intimate. And he wants you to know the intimacy of that with him. That's what God's asking you for. When you begin to understand that, you'll begin to have your own beautiful revelation and definition of God between the two of you. All David's doing is David's just sharing with us a little bit of his depth of his heart, of how he sees God, and how he sees God, and what's coming out of what he sees about God, which is trust, which is under his wings. You see what I'm saying? This is what God's letting you know about safety. Safety comes through intimacy. Safety comes through knowing. Now, are you going to find in your life where sometimes God will not answer a certain prayer? Or maybe will you find your life where you're like, oh, I was in this car wreck. Wait a minute, God, hold on a minute. You said you'd protect me. You've got to begin to realize when you define God, David right here could define God through his intimacy. David could define what God meant to him. David could define these things with no problem whatsoever. However, David made some mistakes in his life. We read, oh my God, do we read the mistakes that David made and the times in which things happened where you could look at David and say, where's your God, David? Where's your God here, David? But see, David was smart enough to know my intimacy, my covenantal definement of who God is to me will never change. And when it never changes, I don't find myself going, why, God? Why'd you allow this to happen to me? Why? Then it's back to basics 101 called trust. And the truth is, when we look at this revelation and understanding, we realize through David went through a lot of stuff. But you don't see him turning against God. You don't see him hating God. You don't see him, why me, God? What have I done? How many times have you ever read, where David says something to the effect of, no one likes me anymore. No, you see what I'm saying? I mean, think about the things that we do today that they didn't do back in the day. Now, are people are people, yes. And people are going to always question. And you do read scriptures, even like with Paul, you do read scriptures where it's almost like, what's going on with this thorn in my flesh, God? Why? But the truth is, one thing that God has revealed to us all through the word of God is, do you trust me? Did Paul turn out to be a dynamic apostle, even though he had a thorn in the flesh at first? Absolutely he did. Did David turn out to be one of the best kings and the best figures in the Bible? Absolutely he did. But were there places in their life when they were like, why is this happening to me, God? Well, I'm sure there was, but they didn't focus on that. They kept on moving. God says, hey, Paul, by the way, my grace is sufficient for you. Oh, okay. And he moved on into what God had for him. He didn't take weeks and months and years saying, oh, God, and to call all of his friends, get my little, let me see if I can get a recorder here. Let's get my little telephone. This is what I use to prophesy in to you guys. This is what I have all day long when I prophesy to you guys. I'm like this. I'm prophesying, but let's use it as a telephone. You don't see David calling and going, "Oh my God, Bathsheba, you're not gonna believe. Why is God doing this to me? Oh my God, Jeremiah, you could not believe what God is doing. Why? I've been faithful. I've been faithful. Let me hold on. Let me call my doctor, my life coach. Why is this happening to me, Jeremy? Why? I've been believing for 6 years now." You see what I'm saying? Do we ever read where David did that in the Bible? No. Do you ever read where Paul did it? No. Paul went straight to God and he's like, hey, I got this thing going on with me right now, God. I got this thorn in the flesh. And God says, hey, Paul, my grace is sufficient for you. Okay, I got you. I get it. Okay. And moved on to still minister to people and start the church. And David kept on doing what David needed to do. You cannot stop and say, why is God letting this happen to me after 5 years? What have I done wrong? Stop with your moaning, your complaining, your griping, and your how. Get into the place of knowing, once like David and Paul, once I'm intimate with God, that's all that matters. God's going to take care of me. At the end of the day, things are going to be better for me. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, no matter how many months, days, and weeks and years it takes, at the end of the day, I'm going to be okay because God's faithful. God loves me and is watching after me. And you should be more like David in Psalm 91 when he tells you, this is what God is to me. And I'm going to say it out loud because I believe it and I'm going to receive it and I'm going to practice it. And this is what God's going to be to me. And God was that to David. All right. So I wanted to share this with you today because I wanted you guys to know we all go through situations, but basically it's how we move out of the situations that really mean the world to us, because we realize it determines our future. How you respond right now will determine your future. It will 101% determine your future. if you're going to gripe and complain about something, guess what? God will start you all the way back at fresh at the very beginning of time, and say, okay, let's start this entire season over again. Let's see let's do it again. Let's see how you're going to respond. If you don't learn the first time, you're destined to repeat it. If you don't learn the first time, you're destined to repeat it. Do you hear me, folks, today? Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Love it. So, and let me just read to you a little bit of some of this. In fact, I'm reading some of that. Yes, I'm so with you, Joshua. I am so with you in the original language. Absolutely, it is. I love it. I love it. I am that I am. We've got to begin to reach this place, people, in our lives where we are not only just trusting God, but that we know who God is. We know what God is. We witness with the stories and the power of saying, I've seen this in my life. I have witnessed what God is. I can see the presence of God in my life. When we do that, we can sort of write our own Psalm 91 in our lives. Do you guys see what I'm saying? And we can sort of write our own story of what Psalm 91 is to us, because the fact that we're getting into the place where we recognize what we are defining God to be to us because of what God is revealing to us in our lives. All right. So, with that said, folks, let me say this to you guys. I hope you guys have a blessed day today. I really do. Have an amazing, beautiful, wonderful Monday today. Do not forget, go on the website right now, download or order the paperbacks. I have a few of them left. Destroying Debt Forever. You'll be glad you did. We've got some Christmas specials coming up soon, and I am thrilled about that. So you definitely, please make sure you are signed up to receive our daily email. Many of you go through social media, which is great, but you're not signed up to our email list on identitynetwork.net. Make sure you're signed up to our email list, because we'll tell you about our Black Friday specials. You'll hear about our Cyber Monday specials. And trust me, you need to hear what is going on with our ministry as we give discounted specials, okay? So make sure you're getting these emails. We only send one a day, so no worries there for you guys. You'll just get one email a day from us. If you want to sign up by phone, you can do that as well, and put your phone number in when you sign up on our website, which is great. That way you'll get a text from me. I mean, many of you would rather do that, so make sure you get that if you can, okay? Let's see. We've also got, what is the date today? Is it a few days? Is that right? Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second, guys. I think that's right. I think I think our Prophetic Live Night event is actually in 2 days from now, on Wednesday night. Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is going to be Wednesday night, 2 days from now, November 19th, 6 p.m. Central Time. We will have our Prophetic Live Night event. Stay tuned to that this coming Wednesday night. Put it on your calendar. Android users, iPhone listeners, go right now to your calendar. Put it on this Wednesday, November 19th, 6 p.m. Central Time. Put it on there, and then do your notification or your alerts as doing an alert maybe an hour before, maybe a day before if you can. That way you are stay tuned with me. You're in sync with me as we do this. Don't forget about our Wednesdays. Thoughts Become Things podcast comes out as well this Wednesday. Make sure, you guys are listening to that on your streaming services as well. Anything else? Our specials coming out on our emails. Anything else? I think that's pretty much it. Anyway, so you guys have a blessed day today. We love you, each one of you. Go back and listen and watch this and share this. Please, please, please share this. And please buy badges real quick on Instagram if you can for us. Those on YouTube, you can go to identitynetwork.net. Go to the right-hand side, the very top, where it says About Us. Click on that. You can give your donation as well. We thrive on donations. Listen, we thrive on donations because our staff has to be fed, and we try to help our staff out more during the holidays. We're feeding people. It's a season in which we need your support. All right. Can I just say this to you guys, if you don't mind? I'm going to just say this because I'm really weird about this, but I want to say this to each one of you. You guys know you can tithe to us if you want to as well. I'm actually a pastor to a lot of people in this life. And we have monthly and weekly and bi-weekly people who tithe to the ministry, and they can go through their donations and pay and just give their tithe as well. You can call the office and say, I'm going to give my weekly tithe. You are more than welcome to do that as well. We're a ministry. We're part of the church of the ecclesia where we feed life into people. So we are the church. Okay. So you can definitely tithe in us if you want to as well. That would be such a huge blessing to us if you want to do that too. So listen, I love you guys. Have a blessed, wonderful day. And I will talk to you guys Wednesday night. All right. This Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Central Time. Have a blessed, wonderful day today. See you guys soon.